CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the intense heat, which is expected to last for several more days. Warnings are in place, and it's not just affecting our region. With more on the health concerns when it comes to these extreme conditions, here's John Venavalley-Rao.
In downtown Toronto, the oven is now on full blast.
It's pretty hot, pretty hot.
This fan is like slightly cooling me, but not really.
Some people doing what they can to protect themselves from heat that officials say can be dangerous.
Everybody's susceptible to this heat. It's not, there's no exception to it.
In much of southern Ontario, Environment Canada issuing an orange warning, saying highs, not including humidity, will be between 34 and 37 Celsius over the next few days.
When the duration exceeds 3 days, we can consider, if the impact is sufficient, we go to an orange warning. And so this is what we're expecting for this week.
Civic Center hours in Toronto are being extended to provide a cool place to shelter, and some pools are being kept open later, with little relief at night. Overnight lows forecast to get down to just 24 or 25 Celsius. That's 8 degrees above normal.
It's going to be warmer tomorrow. I'm on a motorcycle tomorrow, so I'm riding east where it's cooler. Hopefully it's going to cool down.
There are also heat warnings in southern Quebec, along with concerns about the most vulnerable.
We're talking about the elderly, people with chronic diseases, people who are taking certain types of medication, especially for mental health conditions. We know that those people are going to be at risk after a couple of days of this kind of heat.
The advice Environment Canada believes is worth repeating. Drink water often, schedule outdoor activities during the coolest parts of the day, and never leave people, especially children or pets, inside a parked vehicle. For those planning to take part in Canada Day events outdoors, it may be challenging. Meanwhile, forecasters say while it will be close, Canada Day heat records are not likely to fall in most places tomorrow, with the exception of Windsor, which may break the record for the day. John Venavalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, a Canada Day celebration at the East Lyons Community Centre tomorrow has been cancelled because of the heat. That event had been organized by the Optimist Club of East London and the Argyle BIA. Meanwhile, city officials say their celebrations at Harris Park are still a go. Those festivities begin at 6 p.m., including family-friendly entertainment, food trucks, and the city's annual fireworks display. Gary Archibald will have much more on the weather story coming up a little later in the newscast. Ontario's auto insurance rules are changing, giving drivers more choice and opting out of certain coverage types. That could mean savings on monthly premiums, but as Brian Bicknell reports, that could also lead to bigger expenses down the road.
If you don't want it, you don't have to pay for it when it comes to some types of coverage on your auto insurance.
It costs nearly $3,000 a year it's costing me. I'm just wondering because it's my age or what, so it's something I'd look into, yeah.
Under the province's new a la carte style accident benefits model, drivers purchasing a new insurance policy or renewing an existing one can choose whether to opt in for some benefits that used to come standard. These include income replacement, death benefits, and more.
You shouldn't opt out on stuff like that anyway, but I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea.
Rates.ca insurance expert Daniel Ivans says the new model gives drivers choice.
They want more choice around their insurance policy and what coverages they have. So this opens up the window for that conversation. However, on the other side of that, when a consumer declines a specific coverage, that means that they introduce a new exposure into the household. And what consumers are going to need to be aware of is what the implications of having a claim when you needed a coverage but didn't have it could look like.
He says drivers will save an average of 5% or $10 to $20 per month, depending on premiums. Personal injury lawyer Sam Chams cautions that whatever money you save could end up costing you.
They're opting out of, income replacement benefits that if, God forbid, they're in an accident or a collision, that they're not going to get paid their salary.
Also impacted by these changes are non-drivers. Currently, uninsured victims of accidents like pedestrians or cyclists are entitled to the same no-fault benefits as drivers. Those victims now only qualify for the minimum benefits and not the optional coverage. The same for passengers or those who borrow a car and get into an accident.
It's going to force Canadians to settle their cases significantly sooner and at less money, which ultimately is getting pennies on the dollar for the accident that wasn't their fault.
Medical benefits remain mandatory under the new model. The changes take effect July 1st. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Provincial police are launching a road safety campaign responding to a recent rise in fatalities on the road. With more on their increased presence through the next week and what they'll be looking for, here's Brent Lale.
Sir, it's Canada Day long weekend campaign. We're making sure you're wearing your life-saving equipment.
Stationed on the edge of Port Stanley today, Elgin OPP were making sure drivers were complying with seatbelt laws. It's all part of a life-saving blitz aimed at combating a rise in fatalities.
There are still lots of people who are not wearing them, whether it's for inconvenience reasons or they just don't think it's going to happen to them and they're in a rush and they don't. But it doesn't take much to put your seatbelt on.
They were also looking for impaired and distracted drivers as well as speeders in an area which is known to see drivers entering and exiting the village well over the posted speed limit. This safety campaign is not only happening on the roads, but also on waterways across the province.
Hi there, just want to make sure you've got all your stuff before you head out.
Making sure that we had our life jackets. We were both wearing them. Our paddles, our billage, our floating line. Making sure that we had no alcohol on board. And yeah, that was it. Just making sure we were safe and ready to operate.
2 vests you got
Show
there?
them the life jackets.
Expect to see our vessel out on the water this weekend. We will be out stopping boats and making sure that you have all your equipment with you. Don't be surprised if you get pulled over because you are speeding, you're not wearing a seatbelt. Maybe you've had too much to drink. Our efforts are to keep you safe.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Emergency responders say a firefighter was in hospital tonight after a house fire near Strathroy. Sean Irvin has more on the efforts to get the flames under control and the damage left behind.
The destroyed core of a large home southwest of Strathroy serves as a poignant reminder of a blaze that quickly spread. The charred residence sits on Napier Line near the community of Kerwood. Firefighters rushed here around 12:30 a.m. Monday.
Smoke coming out of all windows and a lot of flames through the middle of the house.
The property owner had called in the fire after returning to his residence. No one else was inside. The first crews on scene determined it was unsafe to enter.
Sent a group in to attack it and found that the floor was compromised just inside the door, so we backed out and we had to fight the fire from the outside.
It would take over 4 hours to bring the fire under control. Additional firefighters from Strathroy, Glencoe, Watford, and Elvinston were called in.
The intense heat caused by the fire combined with the warm outside temperatures made for difficult firefighting conditions, and one firefighter was overcome.
Ended up going to the hospital for heat exhaustion, and good to report that he's doing a lot better.
The fire is believed to have ignited in the center of the home. Off camera, the property owner expressed gratitude to firefighters despite the substantial damage figure.
It's about $750,000, my guessing, and the house is a total write-off.
Near Kerwood, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
City officials have agreed to participate in the federal government's housing design catalog. As Daryl Newcomb reports, it's meant to speed up new home construction and bring prices down.
You should be able to afford to live in the community that you're a part of.
We want to make sure that we build homes that everybody can afford.
Local members of parliament announcing that London has joined other municipalities in utilizing the federal housing design catalog. The catalog features 50 standardized home designs specifically tailored to meet the needs of 7 different regions across Canada. The pre-approved designs in Ontario include some accessory dwellings, 4plexes, a 6plex, and 2 stacked townhouses.
The people who build in London build in other communities as well. So this makes things simple, it makes things fast.
Having architectural drawings pre-approved in London can shave weeks off the process of getting the green light from City Hall to begin construction.
4plex or a 6plex, it could save like 15 to 20 days because we know that these drawings and these submissions have already addressed any kind of problems and issues, so we know that they're ready to go. So we can do those under 10 days.
They still have to meet the zoning zoning. They still have to meet the existing setbacks on that zoning, and any sort of additional permissions that would be required for those would still have to go through the standard council process.
The catalog was inspired by post-war housing efforts from the 1940s to 1970s. The modern designs are said to prioritize energy efficiency, accessibility, and livability.
We're talking about homes here, and the catalog can help in that. We need to add supply. With supply comes choice. With choice comes affordability.
This is going to help them meet their housing targets. The goal is to have more affordable housing in a very speedy way.
A link to the housing design catalog can be found on the city's website. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Gas prices are expected to rise starting tomorrow. According to energy analysts, prices across southern Ontario will climb about 5 cents a litre at midnight, bringing the average price to about $1.65 a litre. Diesel is also expected to increase by about 6 cents, roughly $1.86 a litre. Canadian researchers are developing a new blood product which they say could help people healing from traumatic injuries. It's called dried plasma, and as Pauline Chan reports, could make a big difference in extreme situations.
This is liquid plasma.
It carries in it many of the proteins that are important to stop bleeding, what we call clotting factors or coagulation factors. The problem with the traditional ways of delivering plasma is it has to be stored frozen at a very, very cold temperature, minus 20 degrees, and then it is used, then it needs to be thawed out.
But Canadian Blood Services, in partnership with the Canadian Armed Forces, are developing a form of dried plasma.
A very fine powder that can be stored in a tiny little plastic bag and is stable at room temperature.
No refrigeration needed, just add sterile water. And it has a shelf life of 2 years. Colonel Natasha Singh recalls working in Kandahar, Afghanistan in 2009, where the benefits of dried plasma were dramatically illustrated.
We did experience a few mass casualty events while I was there. We did lose some people, unfortunately. We did, from time to time, we had to run walking blood banks where we would have pre-screened members come in and donate blood.
And it could have widespread civilian applications too.
This product can be carried on ambulances or with first responders.
Canada actually produced a form of dried plasma during the Second World War and Korean War, but hepatitis contamination halted its use.
The golden hour, which is typically people who have major trauma events, whether they occur in military or civilian settings, if you don't get blood products to them in the first hour, the risk of death goes up dramatically. We hope to have some of this available probably toward the end of this calendar year, early 2027.
But in order to make the dried plasma, plasma donors are still needed. So Canadian Blood Services encourages people to continue to make regular donations. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still to come, one special delivery. The southwestern Ontario man and his pizza pie request from his new home in the north. The financial and base metal sectors helped boost Canada's main stock index. The TSX gained 33 points. In New York, the Dow added 136. The Nasdaq is up 394. The Canadian dollar is down a modest 0.02 cents. On commodity markets, gold lost 40 cents an ounce and oil fell $1.25 a barrel. The Prime Minister published a public address on YouTube today calling the current climate crisis part of a broader energy crisis in Canada. With more, here's Mike Lecouture.
The certainties of the world of 2015 are long gone.
It's a sobering message about fighting climate change from Prime Minister Mark Carney. While saying the climate plan he inherited was well-intentioned for the time, Carney doesn't believe it fits today's realities.
The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years than they were projected to be under the previous government's plan. But in my judgment, that plan was not sustainable over the long term.
Now, that plan was to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 40 to 45% of 2005 levels by the year 2030. While still committed to lowering emissions, Carney did not set a new target for that goal.
We're already paying the price for that in terms of record heat, record temperatures in Canada and around the world.
Carney has rolled back a number of Trudeau-era climate policies, which the Prime Minister called an open opportunity to divide the country. In his first act as Prime Minister, Carney cancelled the consumer carbon tax. He also paused the federal mandate on electric vehicle sales, moves that pushed former Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault to leave the Liberals.
We're putting our foot off the gas when it comes to fighting climate change.
Carney also signed a deal with Alberta, paving the way for a new pipeline to be built to BC's coast. The Prime Minister says it's part of a larger energy plan that includes LNG exports and doubling Canada's electricity grid by 2050.
It will make Canada more sustainable, more affordable, and more prosperous.
A spokesperson for Premier Daniel Smith tells CTV News there will be a major announcement and new details to share about that new pipeline on Thursday. And Carney confirmed today there isn't a private proponent for the project yet. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Tomorrow marks the deadline to renew the North American Free Trade Deal 6 years after it was initially signed. It's something Canadian and Mexican officials have expressed interest in, but not the U.S. president. And as Abigail Beeman reports, there's little expectation of any major progress anytime soon.
The Prime Minister downplaying expectations for July 1st, the deadline for countries to decide if they want to renew the Canada-U.S.-Mexico free trade deal.
We're expecting, a constructive exchange. I wouldn't expect any drama tomorrow. I'm not looking for my pen.
While most trade watchers aren't expecting the U.S. to announce its intention to withdraw, the president has not been clear.
I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it. Right. But we do better as a country if we don't have an agreement.
So are you thinking of?
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe we won't be able to make a deal. I would rather not have the USMCA.
If any party doesn't agree to renew, it will trigger an annual review for the next decade.
I think the most likely outcome is going to be that discussions continue and we continue to try to find some kind of accommodation on these issues.
Canada's chief negotiator for the original CUSMA told a BMO audience he doesn't expect a deal in the near term, with a possible window around the November midterms.
There's a possibility for it to come together, but I think it's more likely that the discussions will continue beyond the midterms and possibly even into next year.
Steve Verhoeven and others say the key issue is separate from the CUSMA deadline: what happens with tariffs.
We haven't been able to get the United States to drop all of these additional tariffs that it has imposed on Canada and that are actually really devastating to a large number of Canadian businesses currently.
Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. will meet virtually tomorrow, with our country represented by Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. The high heat and humidity continue to be the major focus. In terms of the weather right now, ridge of high pressure is keeping things rather quiet across extreme southwestern Ontario. On the perimeter of that ridge to the north, some violent thunderstorms through the Nickel Belt region. Meanwhile, in southern Ontario proper, we are relatively clear through the overnight, but very warm and humid. It will feel like the lower 30s at the lowest point pre-dawn. And then Canada Day rolls around. Tomorrow's going to be a sweltering day. I'll break down what you need to know to see how long this heat wave lasts. It's coming up shortly here on CTV News.
Welcome back with Gary Archibald tonight. And Gary, it's going to be more of the same, I imagine, this forecast, at least for the next couple days, talking about this intense heat and humidity we're still dealing with.
You're right about that, Carlyle. At least until Friday, perhaps extended by Environment Canada into the weekend Saturday. I think there will be some temperature relief by Sunday, certainly Monday of next week. But for now, it's a significant story, obviously affecting all of us. The temperatures today soaring well above seasonal highs. By seasonal, we're talking about norms, right? Averages for highs and lows, and we are several degrees above those tallies today. Normally about 25 in London, 33 at the airport, feeling like about 44 this afternoon. So what are we dealing with? Ridge of high pressure. The winds have picked up a bit through this late stage of the night and will be a bit breezy, but dying down post, say, 2 a.m. That's helping to keep the air quality decent. But I think Canada Day, we are going to not only be mostly sunny through the day, a continuation of the overnight, but we'll see those winds not be as strong, and that could lead to a deterioration of the air quality. If we do see scattered showers, very light and sporadic over the next 24 hours. I'm not anticipating a lot of rainfall across southern Ontario. If we are likely to see thunderstorms, it's not going to happen here. It will be well to our north and east. By the way, across the region, the overnight lows range between about 21 degrees and 25. That is going to feel like somewhere between 28 and 34. The lowest point in terms of the coolest it will feel pre-dawn. That's very warm. We're already up to 23 and sunny at 8 a.m. tomorrow, feeling like 32. By midday, 30 degrees, mostly cloudy, feels like 40. The winds pick up a bit. There's a 40% chance in the afternoon, it's cloudy, that we could see some light, very scattered, and hopefully non-severe thunderstorm activity. The next 4 days straight meet heat wave criteria, and Canada Day could be very warm, feeling like about 44. Showers Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Cooling trend, relatively speaking, upper 20s, and cloudy with showers Sunday into possibly Monday, Tuesday. That's the similar story for the Midwest as well. Very warm Wednesday through to Saturday, cooling off a touch. At least a week from now, more seasonal values, 25. That's much more comfortable. Certainly pleasant enough for us to be outdoors, not worrying about heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Let's look at your weather.
Thanks very much, Gary. Toronto's final World Cup match is Thursday, and it's one of the most hotly anticipated contests of the entire round between Portugal and Croatia. For more, here's Adrian Gabriel.
History etched once again.
A shootout stunner now has Morocco on a World Cup collision course with Canada.
Football is everything in Morocco.
From Montreal to Toronto, all the way to Vancouver, by the thousands, Moroccans in Canada have been celebrating the old country. Meanwhile, Toronto Stadium is preparing to host two frenetic football fan bases for an epic round of 32 clash between Croatia and Portugal.
Both communities, both countries, and to see an epic match between Ronaldo and Modric, knowing that it is likely the final match in a national team jersey for one of them.
And tickets to get into Toronto Stadium this Thursday have spiked ever since the game between the two soccer titans was confirmed. According to Ticket Data, a website that tracks prices, the cheapest seat is roughly $2,600 Canadian. Portuguese community bars and cafes across the country are also expected to cash in while ensuring fans stay hydrated.
You expect that to be like just a dream, but now as reality is coming over here to Toronto to play a major tournament like a World Cup.
The dream of Canada playing its knockout games on Canadian soil have come and gone. Now that Canada has flown south for the remainder of the World Cup, so have resale ticket prices at Vancouver's BC Place. The cheapest seat to Switzerland's game against Algeria is roughly $580, a 30% drop over the last 3 days. One thing that will likely remain unchanged during this World Cup are scenes like this on Canadian streets. A Moroccan musician singing and dancing, accompanied by a group of Mexican fans, as cowboy hat wearing, maple leaf flag waving Canadians join in on the celebration of life and sport. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca.
Finally tonight, a former Windsor resident suffering from a bout of homesickness. He now lives in Northern Ontario and recently posted about his taste for Windsor-style pizza, something he says he's been missing. Robert Lothian has more on the community response that went above and beyond just delivering him his beloved pie.
What began as a harmless social media post by a former Windsorite living in Sault Ste. Marie asking for a take on a Windsor pizza joint.
Windsor pizza is like the best in the world. And so of course I was missing that.
Quickly became a community effort to help someone in need. Windsor Food Spotters creator Sean Risk offering to deliver the pizza to Sault Ste. Marie if his post received 519 likes, a nod to Windsor's area code.
So I think in an hour it hit like 1,000. And I said, well, it's time for me to go and deliver a pizza to Sault Ste. Marie.
That's when the story took a turn.
He said, man, I appreciate you reaching out. It's crazy timing. I'm in Sudbury right now with my family. My father underwent a 15-hour-long surgery.
Dallas's father, Chris, is receiving care in Sudbury after a major surgery for a rare form of cancer.
He's the best father I could have ever asked for.
Touched by their battle, Risk put a call out on social media.
Once I did, the entire city rallied behind it. And then from the moment I made that post, 48 hours after, I spent the entire time bouncing from business to business.
Filled coolers, gift baskets, pictures, nearly $1,000 in gift cards and more. Windsor Essex businesses donating goods, no questions asked. On Sunday, Risk drove everything to Sudbury to meet Dallas and his family.
I appreciate it. Being able to alleviate that stress off and that burden off of their shoulders meant the world to them. And, it was good to see. And having the city of Windsor rally behind me was an incredible feeling.
Risk drove Dallas back to Sault Ste. Marie, capping off several days his family will never forget.
We couldn't have, I don't think we could have done this without all of this. This is too much. It's so helpful. They're so happy.
And so after a social media craze, several hours on the road, and some new friends along the way, Dallas finally got his pizza.
Dude, pizza was killer, dude.
Robert Lothian, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.